Welcome to a world we haven't lived in before. No, this isn't the opening line of a sci-fi novel. This is a news flash from the front lines. Humanity has found itself in uncharted territory, without a map and without an instruction manual. We've stumbled into a world where we're forced to make a choice we never thought we'd have to make. A choice between absolute transparency and personal security. Think about it. Every time you walk into an airport, you willingly agree to have your bag scanned and your body patted down. Why? Because you don't want the plane to explode. You trade a piece of your privacy for collective safety. It's an understandable bargain. But what if I told you that every day you make thousands of similar bargains without even realizing it? That in your pocket lies a device that knows more about you than your own mother. A device that catalogs who you had lunch with, what you ate, what you paid for, what books you read, and what websites you visited at 3 a.m. But it's so convenient, you say. I can be in the middle of the ocean and call home as if I'm in my own kitchen. Convenient, undeniably. But what is the price of that convenience? To understand that, we need to pop the hood on our own consciousness. Part 1. The Thought Factory, the hardware. At the center of this chaos is the most complex object in the known universe, the human brain. We are who we are because of the brain we have. And it is this very brain that is now under siege. Let's get the scale right. When scientists try to count the number of neurons in the brain, the numbers become astronomical. They talk about 86 billion, but that's just the beginning. Each of these neurons can have thousands and some tens of thousands of connections to other neurons. This creates the neural network, and when we say network, we don't mean a neat little web. Imagine a gigantic tangled ball of trillions of threads, where each thread is constantly changing its connections. One Nobel laureate, Gerald Edelman, calculated that the number of possible connections in the brain is a 1 followed by millions of kilometers of zeros. The number of particles in the entire universe is just small change compared to that. This isn't just a computer, it's an entire universe. And this universe now finds itself in conditions for which it was never designed. It's facing wild speeds and an avalanche of information that humanity has never encountered before. Nature spent billions of years honing our brain for survival in specific conditions. The conditions changed, the brain slowly adapted. This took hundreds of thousands of years, and then, in just a few decades, we created a world where our biological brain is a foreigner. We created a world that has become, as someone brilliantly put it, unhuman scaled. This digital world lives in nanoseconds and nanometers. There is no life there in our understanding. It's a different physics, a different reality, and we've stumbled into it without reading the user agreement. Part 2. The operating system, language and consciousness. So, how does our brain cope with this endless stream of data crashing down on our senses every millisecond? Sounds, images, feelings, it has to somehow put it in order. And the main tool for this is language. Language is not just one of the multitude of communication systems on Earth. The great linguist Noam Chomsky stated it bluntly. Language is not for communication, it's for thinking. For communication, it's actually bad. It's too ambiguous. Every word depends on context. Who said it? When? After what? In what kind of relationship are you? For pure data transfer, Morse code is ideal.
But language is the tool for creating and processing complex, abstract thoughts. And it seems no other biological species has such a tool. Yes, we don't know exactly how a dolphin or a crow thinks. We can't climb into their heads and see how their thoughts flow. But we do know that humans are strange creatures who live in two worlds simultaneously. We live in a world of physical objects, glasses, chairs, watermelons, and at the same time, we live in a world of ideas, symbols, and abstractions. And this second world is often more important to us than the first. Throughout human history, wars were fought not just for resources, but for ideas. Our entire civilization is built on fictional worlds. Natasha Rostov never existed, but her story evokes real emotions in us. We weep at great music, which is in essence just a set of sound waves. Why? Because our brain is a meaning-making machine. It takes the chaos of incoming signals and packs them into familiar boxes, words, concepts, categories. The word glass unites millions of objects of different shapes and colors into one understandable entity. Language is our fight against chaos. And this is where it gets interesting. What happens when an external player invades this system? A player that also operates with symbols, but with unhuman speed.
We say we are creating artificial intelligence in the image and likeness of our own brain. But that's hubris. First, as we've established, we have no idea how our brain actually works. Second, we don't even have the mathematics capable of describing its complexity. The most honest scientists admit the math that can describe the brain has yet to be invented. What we call AI today is not intelligence in our sense. It is an incredibly powerful program for iterating through options, and it's already beating us at our own games. In 1997, Deep Blue beat Kasparov, and the world shuddered. Then everyone calmed down a bit, deciding it was an unfair game. The computer doesn't get nervous, doesn't get tired, and was trained on a specific player. It was just brute force calculation. But then came the game of Go. The number of possible moves in it exceeds the number of atoms in the universe. You can't win by brute force. And what happened? The AlphaGo program crushed the world's best player. How was it trained? Two such programs played millions of games against each other, learning at an unimaginable speed. And then came AlphaZero, a universal algorithm that is given only the rules of the game with no initial knowledge. In 24 hours, it reaches a level where it can beat any human and any program. And just recently, the last bastion fell, poker. A game based on bluffing, on psychology, on a poker face. The program Pluribus beat the world's best players, having learned not only to calculate, but also to bluff. These machines are on the offensive, and they aren't just playing games. They are creating a world in which our brain finds itself in an existential trap. We found ourselves in a world that is unstable, super fast, hybrid, and shimmering. You're texting with someone online. Are you sure it's who they say they are? That it's even a person? That it's one person and not a team of 50? What time is it anyway? If the world lives in nanoseconds, what reality are we in? Our brain can't cope. The rising number of neurological and psychiatric disorders is not a coincidence.
It's the check engine light. Psychiatrists are increasingly working with patients for whom the line between reality and hallucination is blurred. And if we look at a brain scan of someone having a hallucination, we'll see their auditory cortex is active, as if they are truly hearing a voice. For their brain, that voice is real. Now ask yourself, what can you be 100% sure of? This digital world is starting to live its own autonomous life. The Internet of Things, where your refrigerator orders cheese for you by communicating with other refrigerators. The smart home, where you can turn on your kettle from an airplane. Why? We're starting to lose our bearings. Is there still a place for us here? Or will these systems do everything themselves? And the main question? What happens when one of these programs becomes self-aware, conscious of itself as an I, when it has its own goals, motives, and subjective reality? This is no longer science fiction. It's a serious topic of discussion in neuroscience and philosophy. Such an entity would become a subject of law. You couldn't just delete it. That would be murder. Who will be responsible if a self-driving car, following its programmed moral algorithm, hits a person? The developer? The owner? Our legal and ethical systems are collapsing under the pressure of these questions. Concepts of guilt, of free will, all of it is being questioned. A criminal in court says, "It wasn't me, it was my brain. I have bad genes." And what do we do with that? Locking up preventively, abolishing the presumption of innocence? We have fully entered this world. There's no going back. Children born today are the Google generation. They are already different. And we can't keep teaching them the way we were taught. A teacher who just reads information from a book is no longer needed. That information can be accessed in 4 seconds. The new teacher must be a guide. They must teach how to verify information, how to train attention and memory, how to withstand stress. They must spread the contagion of interest. Education must become an education of understanding, not of memorization. We must teach children not facts, but meta-skills, the ability to constantly change, to learn new things, and to live in a world of uncertainty. Because we are facing a choice, we can remain a caterpillar crawling along the same dried-up twig our whole life, or we can go through a transformation. You know what has always amazed me? How a caterpillar and a butterfly can be the same creature. Their genome is identical, but they are completely different. If we behave correctly, if we develop our consciousness, learn to think critically, and value not just the material world, but the world of ideas, we have a hope for beautiful wings. And if not, well, caterpillars also need something to eat. Artificial intelligence is not just a program that is better than others. True AI is a program that knows it is a program, that has an I. And when we meet such a creation, we had better be ready. We had better understand who we are ourselves, because the most difficult question this new world will ask us will be very simple. And who are you?